Hello and welcome back to the Social Selling Podcast. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for today's episode because I'm joined by someone. And let's be straight here. LinkedIn is a noisy place, and there are a lot of LinkedIn speakers, gurus, experts, influencers. There are tons out there. Some are good, some of them perhaps not so good. And there are, I would say, a handful that I genuinely, massively respect. And I am joined today by one of those people, the phenomenal, the incredible Leah Turner. And we're going to talk about lots of different things, LinkedIn and not LinkedIn. But I'm so excited to have you here today. So, Leah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's been a long time since we chatted.
It has. I think it's been a few years. It was around the pandemic. I think we hosted a masterclass. I thought it was incredible. It was really interactive. And I think my son even came in at some point and we had some sort of charts in the background and he started drawing on it. That became a thing. But it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And you and I share a passion of helping people with LinkedIn, but also with doing things beyond LinkedIn. So turning LinkedIn into something tangible. But I think to start off, I'd love to know what your journey has been like on LinkedIn, because I think it's quite a story. And I think there'll be lots of people that will be where you were when you started using LinkedIn. So it'd be great to know what got you started.
Oh God, it feels like such a long time ago now, but in reality, it was only about 4.5 years ago. In 2019, I had a small transcription business that I ran from home. I was low income. I was on government support. I'm a solo parent to my son, who at the time was only 4. And I stumbled onto LinkedIn and instantly hated it. Didn't think I belonged there, because if you're listening and you're not watching, I'm head to toe in tattoos. I don't subscribe to the typical corporate image. I didn't think anyone was going to take me seriously, and I felt completely uncomfortable and unwelcome there. But I didn't have much choice. I needed more clients. So I persisted and eventually relaxed and started enjoying creating content and found a tribe of people, other people that seemed a little bit wayward, a little bit different. And my following started growing really fast. Once I started creating content, about a couple of months after I'd started using LinkedIn regularly, my following had grown to 10,000 people from 400, and it kept going up and up. And a few months after that, the pandemic hit, and I was getting hundreds and hundreds of leads from LinkedIn inbound for my typing business. And suddenly they all disappeared because of the pandemic. They didn't have clients to see. I didn't have people to serve. And people kept asking me how to get leads on LinkedIn because I was doing it so well. And so I took a chance to start teaching people, which I thought was like massively audacious, because I'd only been on the platform 6 months. And that was definitely the feedback from some other LinkedIn trainers as well. Like, how dare you? What do you know? But it took off and I was fully booked for months and months on end. That business then hit 6 figures in the first 10 months. I started releasing all sorts of different products and services and working with corporates, and my network continued to grow and I nurtured it. And it's much more of a community than just a network, I think would be fair to say. And then I launched a second business nearly 2 years ago now as a membership community to serve more people on a bigger scale and foster genuine community, real kind of intimacy and friendship, as well as use the people I had access to, the experts that were saying, we want your audience. I was like, okay, you can have my audience if you do a masterclass in my community. So harness my influence to benefit other people. And along the way, I've done a lot of charity work as well. I bought a house. I'm no longer low income. It's totally changed mine and my son's lives completely. It's unrecognizable these days, but still the same people, just without flirting with my overdraft at the end of every month. And yeah, it's been a real game changer.
I think it's one of the most inspiring stories of the power of LinkedIn. But I think what's important,
Mhm.
pretty much at the 165K mark now with followers, which is just
Yeah.
incredible. Growing an audience is challenging. And I think one of the things, there are a couple of things you've done extremely well. One is consistency, and that's not easy for a lot of people. What was it that helped you keep going? As you say, even when you started, and LinkedIn was and still is in some places quite a corporate stuffy place. What was it that helped you push through that?
Lack of choice. Really. At the beginning, I had no marketing budget and I didn't really know how to go out and get clients because I'd always had clients from word of mouth, and
Mhm.
that I'd run out of options with that really because I sort of maximised my opportunities there. Um, so I didn't really have a choice. I needed more clients. I didn't want to be working 80-hour weeks as my son started school. It was all going to
Yeah.
become too difficult and I was exhausted. So that was the initial why I had to do it. It became easier the more I did it because I learned what people liked and I started relaxing about what I was going to talk about. And I've also lived a pretty colourful life. I have lots of stories to tell and a fairly unique take on some of those stories and a natural ability to tell a story, weave a story with words. I've got a wide vocabulary and a fairly good sense of humor, and I've read obsessively for years. So it contributed to a natural ability to weave a story, which I think people resonated with. And the word authentic follows me around a lot, but I was telling the truth about things. I wasn't hiding the difficult parts. I was using those bits and helping other people to see what was possible, even though I felt faced adversity and tough times as well. And I think people connected with that, and that spurred me on because I saw that my words were resonating with others and inspiring others. And I was getting the feedback in my DMs, in the comments. I really needed to read that today. Your post the other day made me confident enough to go for an interview I didn't think I was going to get, and I got the job. All those little things started to feed back to me, and I went, well, it might be uncomfortable for me, but it's helping others, so I'm going to keep going. And it was putting money in my bank. So that obviously is quite good motivation.
Win-win. I was going to use the word authentically. I think you are genuinely one of the most authentic people. And I think just being yourself is what's definitely been a huge catalyst for you. But was that ever difficult? Did you ever feel like you wanted to try and be someone different? Did you ever try and be the sort of corporate stuffy side that perhaps you saw at the start? Or did you think, "Do you know what, I'm just going to be me and let's see what this does"?
I did at the beginning. Like my first ever post on LinkedIn was the most cringe thing ever, where I'm talking about everything's in like corporate jargon and trying to sound smart. And then I realized that actually it's much more effective if I just speak like myself and bring my humor and silly references and euphemisms and innuendos into my writing. It's much more entertaining. And I worked out if I made people smile, they came back to my content because it made them feel good and they wanted to get involved in the banter in the comments. And that was way more fun for me. I don't like being super serious all the time. I'm not a
Yeah, yeah.
particularly, I can be serious when I need to be, but I don't want to be serious all the time. I'm working God knows how many hours a day. I want to have fun while I'm doing it. And I want to meet people that want to have fun as well. Yeah, I think it's been hard to be me in person when I go to in-person events because I'm naturally really introverted. And while I'm okay when I'm like in front of a group of people that I'm training or in small groups of people where I know they've paid money to be there and learn from me and I'm teaching, when I'm like networking, I find it really uncomfortable and I'm very awkward when people come up to me and say, "Oh, hi Leah, I follow you. I really like this that you said." That's when it's really hard to be me because I know they're expecting
Yeah, yeah.
the version that they see online, which is me when I'm writing, but the version that I always feel like, oh God, there's a lot of pressure for me to meet these high expectations that they seem to have of me. What if I disappoint them? What if I'm not funny or engaging in person? And that makes it hard to be me, but not online, not now. I'm confident in it. And if people don't like it, they can unfollow me.
I think that's such a good. And do you find it easier just being you? I know it sounds silly, but it is easier, isn't it? Instead of trying to be someone else
Yeah,
and trying to be smart and corporate, actually just being yourself, it does take a lot of pressure off. And behind the sort of digital platform, it is a lot easier. But it's interesting what you talk about the in person, and I think there's almost that pressure that you have of everything you've built and this persona you've built up, which is you, but you can't be that 24/7. And I
no,
guess it's
I,
yeah,
I
it's
I find it quite bizarre because people say to me like, "Did you know you were going to be authentic? Was that your strategy?" I'm like, No, I'm just really lazy. I'm not going to put on an act. That's really hard work. I don't want to network with people that like a fake version of myself because that doesn't really feel good. You can't internalize
Yeah.
those followers and messages of support and encouragement and things like that if it's not me that they're genuinely encouraging. So for me, authenticity is just the thing that's natural. Putting on an act takes some effort. I'd be terrible. I've got an awful memory. If I start lying and pretending to be somebody else, I'd screw it up. I'd be gone in a week. Like it wouldn't work at all.
Oh, I'd be exactly the same. I'm curious though, in with all the people, and you've helped thousands and thousands of people on LinkedIn over the last few years. Have you worked with people that perhaps being authentic and genuine wasn't their natural go-to? Actually, because there are lots of people out there that
Oh,
unfortunately feel the need to be someone else. They think that that's going to impress people, etc. Have you worked with
that's the
people like
core of my
that?
business. It's the core of my business is working with people who have been wearing corporate handcuffs for the past God knows how many years. And now they've gone out on their own and they don't know how to attract clients by being themselves. But the reason
Yeah.
they left corporate was because they were sick and tired of being that version. They've had to pretend to be this buttoned up, suited and booted version of themselves for so many years, and they usually reach around middle age and go, nah, this isn't for me anymore. I don't feel like myself. I'm ready to be me and celebrate all that is me, and attract the right clients that I love working with instead of a boss I hate. And yeah, so much of it is literally stripping back those layers and giving them actual permission. I'm not a coach, but a lot of what I do feels like confidence coaching to a lot of them. And I think that's why I attract the kind of like financial advisors, the recruiters, the legal industry a lot, and people that have left those industries because they really want to be able to be themselves and be
Mhm.
liked for being themselves and work with people that they genuinely love working with. And that's a huge part of what I do. It wasn't ever intended, but that
Yeah.
has become the sort of key thing that I sell is let's strip back all these layers of pretense that you've built up over the years and let's find out who you really are and let everybody see. And
I love that.
it's beautiful when you see it happen and watch them glow and building confidence. You see the content on their feed, and I'm like, "You are amazing! Like this content is incredible. It's so nice to see them blossoming like that."
Oh, I love it. I love it. And isn't it ironic that, what we were talking about with yourself and I'm the same, trying to keep up that persona 24/7 is
Yeah.
impossible. And it's the same with people that work in corporate. It's impossible to be. No one wants
Mm,
to be corporate 24/7 for their entire life. It's all right. Sometimes we have to dress smart and do those things, but
yeah.
everyone does just want to be themselves. And I love that LinkedIn is a platform that you can do that. And what I love about what you do, Leah, is that you show people it's okay because there are so
Yeah.
many, and I'm sure you talk to them regularly, CEOs, business owners, leaders that still think of LinkedIn as this corporate place, and they want their employees to still treat LinkedIn like this corporate place and be the
Mhm.
corporate person. And it's amazing, as you say, when people, but also companies, open their eyes a bit, realize that actually LinkedIn works better when we're all just people and we have people conversations, and those people conversations can lead to all different types
And
of
that's it, isn't it?
opportunities.
Because those people then want to spend time on LinkedIn because it's not yet more of that corporate mask that they're wearing. It doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels more like the after work drinks that I can go and make some friends and network with people that might bring opportunities my way. And we actually go, oh, this is quite good actually. I can network from my sofa with a cup of coffee and the puppy on my knees. Like I don't have to get dressed up and go out and spend money and public transport and all that. I can just do it from my sofa and have a giggle with people and be liked for who I am. And we all really want that, don't we?
Those connections are what help us grow, it helps us do business, it helps us get jobs. Everything that people want to achieve on LinkedIn, it happens from those real connections. And actually that's a kind of a nice segue into, again, another area that I admire incredibly of what you've done with your audience, and that's taking it offline. And I don't want to say directly off LinkedIn as such, but it's that sort of evolution where you've taken your audience, the people that the tribe, the people that you've built that connection with, and what you've created is this incredible community called the Halt. And I see what people are saying about it, the videos, the testimonials, the interaction, the conversations, the comments. You've got a real thriving community where you're able to bring those real loyal members of your tribe as such, and give that value by educating them, connecting them, helping them do business together. And what has that sort of journey been like, having had that meteoric rise on LinkedIn and seeing, you know, how powerful LinkedIn is, and then thinking, okay, what is the next step? Is that kind of what took you to Halt?
From a business perspective, it was something sensible, like I wanted to create a recurring income, right? Something that I could rely on that would be a regular income every single month, but also mean that the people who couldn't, the prices to work with me one-to-one were getting crazy high, according to some people. It still amazes me that people pay it, but they do. But it meant that there was a lot of small business owners, solopreneurs at the beginning of their journey that really needed my help, that I didn't have the time and they didn't have the money to work with me one-to-one. And I have so many people, can you be on my podcast? Will you deliver a masterclass for this community? Will you do this? Will you do that? And they all wanted my time for free. And I started thinking, well, hold on a minute. There's a lot of people out there that owe me a favor. And so I thought, I know all these people, and all these people want my audience. All these people want access to my people. So why don't I get something from them that helps others? So that kind of segued nicely into creating a community. And I didn't really have too much of a plan. I think the huge need in me was I was lonely as a business owner, as a solopreneur, and working from home. I knew that there was a lot of skills I needed to learn when I first started my business, and I didn't know where to go to learn them. I didn't know who to invest in that I could trust. I just needed something little done, but that something little was going to cost me £200 from a professional to fix it. And I was like, oh, I don't have that, or I don't want to spend it on that, but it's going to take me 3 hours. I also don't have to do it myself. So I put all those pieces together and I went, well, I could turn this into something that small business owners need, but not a BNI. I don't want any of that. I'm not that kind of person. I want something that's fun, that's interactive, that I actually want to hang out with. I want something like the chat rooms I used to be in when I was a teenager that felt like I could just log in at any time of day and have a little chit chat with someone. And that's what the Halt is. Yes, we have masterclasses. We have incredible masterclasses, like multiple times a month. I think 4 or 5 every month for at least an hour. Yes, you've got content ideas. You've got a whole directory of all the other users and the skills that they have. You've got everything we've ever recorded is in a library. I do LinkedIn clinics every month, so people can get access to my advice, but they can also ask in the chat, and either me or one of my team will answer and support them, and the other members will jump in and offer advice. Literally anyone you need, you go in there and say, does anyone know a graphic designer? And someone else goes, yeah, and tags another member. We've got this person that does that. And if it's just a small job, they don't even charge each other, they just help. And it's so valuable. And you're right, the way people talk about it online, it makes my heart sing every time, because they genuinely promote it to all of their friends. They're genuinely bringing other people in. Our waiting list is bigger than the number of people in the community. We sell out every time we open the doors. We sold out 25 places in 9 minutes last week, which was insane.
9 minutes.
9 minutes, yeah. And we ended up letting in a load of extra people because they got recommended by members, because we allow people in on personal recommendations as well. We had 40 new members last week, which was crackers. But I'm having to hold back the growth because I don't want it to grow too quickly and be detrimental to the existing members there. So we're just being very, very careful with how we scale it. But I wanted to combat solopreneur loneliness and the expense to grow. Like, you can grow quicker if you've got access to the skills and support that you need, and just someone to sound off with when things are tough, or to celebrate with when things are great. Because if you don't have business owner friends, it can be quite isolating, because employed friends don't really get the struggles of what it's like to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. You need that around you. That support makes all the difference. And yeah, it's magic. Everyone that comes in there that goes into other communities says it's the best one they've ever been in by a country mile. And that makes me really proud of what we've created. But it is very much a we. Like, I'm always making feedback to develop it and make it into more of what they need. That's why we're doing in-person events, because people kept saying we want to meet each other. So
I think you should be incredibly proud of what you've built, and it's testimony to itself. Every piece of feedback is so positive, and also to your sort of attitude of, because you probably could open the doors, flood it with tons of people, which might be great for you short term, but actually you're right, there are challenges that it brings. And so I really respect that you're taking it slow and doing it as organically and controlled as possible, because that is
Yeah.
protecting your community, their experience, and the value they get. But I can't
Mm.
wait to see what this continues to grow and become. But I love that almost third extension where you've got LinkedIn, where people meet and network and introduce themselves and have some conversations. Then you've got your community, the Holt, which is where they can then go deeper, work together, really build those relationships. And then the sort of next evolution that you are running, and I see the photos, are the in-person events where people can actually meet in person and take those relationships even further. And it's almost like that business journey that lots of people go on, and it's what helps businesses grow and choose the right people. And probably the people that are all working together in the Holt will work together for years to come.
Yeah, the collaborations that happen in there and the leads that people get. There's one lady who's left teaching. She's my VA, Danielle. She's left teaching recently, and she started her VA business last year and was doing both. Almost all of her clients are from the Holt, and she's got 5 or 6 associates that work with her now. She's running her business basically with people that she's met within the community. We had one founder that came in that needed a team of 5 different people to help with his startup, and he found all of them within the Holt. And lots of them offer discounts to one another as well for being other members. So there's so many perks to it. It's unreal. And I could go on and on about it for days. It's the best thing that I've ever created and will be the future of my business. The LinkedIn training will, this time next year, be done. I don't expect to be carrying it on beyond next year. I want the Holt to be my main focus. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I love LinkedIn training, but this for me, LinkedIn training for me was like a stepping stone. I'm learning what I'm good at, and I started doing the events, and the strength is the confidence, the networking, yes, I'm good at LinkedIn, like obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have made a living doing it. But it's the networking, the community building, the leadership, the humor, the bringing people together. That's where my heart lies, and that's where my true skills align. And the Holt brings all of those things together and allows me to help people on a bigger scale. And I'm hoping that we will grow and grow. We're in 25 countries now. So hopefully, yeah, we're drawing close to the 500 members mark, which is
Oof.
mad.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. I'll be honest, Leah, the LinkedIn training world will be less without you. You are one of the best, and I genuinely say this, one of the best LinkedIn trainers out there. And I hope in some capacities you're still able to provide training, because you help so many people and you have such a very special way of delivering that training that not many do. So it would be sad if you stop, but then maybe it's something that those that join the Holt will get to benefit from your training in LinkedIn and beyond. But actually, what that kind of leads me on to for the sort of last part of this podcast episode is one of the biggest impacts you've made, and the way you've used LinkedIn to do this is incredible, and that's your charity work. And there are so many people that LinkedIn's a great platform to grow your business, to sell, to get leads, to recruit, etc., to run marketing campaigns. But to use it and to use your influence and your followers and your audience and your tribe to do good is something that very few people do. And I love seeing everything you've done. Even though I know there were some recent dramas with one of your more recent ones, you still turn it around, and the impact you've made is just phenomenal. What was the sort of motivator of starting to really support charities in such a visual way, and what has that journey been like?
It's not something that I realized until someone pointed it out to me maybe 2 years ago and said that you don't really see influencers on LinkedIn doing stuff for charity. And I personally don't really understand why, because for me, yes, I get to pour my heart and soul into something that really has purpose and is far bigger than me. But it's obviously good for your brand as well to align yourself with doing such good, because it makes people trust you. So when I don't see it, I'm like, you're missing a trick here, because it feels incredible to be able to do it. And you meet the most amazing people, and you genuinely are serving a bigger cause than just your bank account, which just does so much for your soul. But the way it's helped my brand and their brand to expand as we've helped each other, it's just like, that's not why I did it. But when I see people not doing it, I'm like, you're an idiot, because it's mutually beneficial. But it was back, the particular charity that I'm involved with is called Hope For, and they came to my awareness back when the war broke out in Ukraine. And I saw some awful news articles on everything that was going on. And I didn't sleep one night after I'd seen a lady and her son at a train station, a Ukrainian lady and her son. And I just was like, God, this is awful. They're refugees. They've left dad behind to fight in the war. And I kept thinking, this could be me and my son. And I woke up the next morning and decided that I was going to try and help and raise some money, but I needed a charity to direct it to. And I'm not very trusting of the bigger charities because I know 15p to every pound actually goes to aid, which I don't like at all. So I said to a few friends, like, do you know any charities are actually on the ground making a difference? And Christopher Wright said to me, Chris Lomas, he's from Hope 4. He's posting stuff on LinkedIn. Connect me with Chris. And I said, I'm going to help. I'm going to send you money. I'm going to do a webinar. And Chris went, oh my God. I said, I should get a couple of grand, hopefully. And I sat in bed on a Saturday morning. My son's going, I'm hungry. I was like, wait, I'm starting something here. And I went true hyper focus, built this, linked it all up and started selling the webinar. And within 2 hours, we sent £2,000 to the charity. By the end of the day, it was about £10,000. And because I had the money in my Stripe, in my bank account, and it was all coming into my Stripe, I just sent the aides straight out, and they were out there that afternoon spending money and buying clothes and warmth. And it raised about £40,000-50,000 in the first couple of weeks. Then we did the webinar. Then we sold recordings of the webinar. I've been out to Moldova now twice myself to help and see the work. I took my son out with me in October, so he helped out with the orphans and delivering food and clothes. And I think they told me the other day that before they became aligned with my brand on LinkedIn and we gave them the exposure through the webinar, that they were getting about £20,000 in donations a year. And they're on target for £1 million this year. And it's not just cash, it's cash and like goods, food. They had a huge sports brand that became aware of them through a contact on LinkedIn that donated £5 million worth of clothing. Yeah, so it's been a huge impact because of the awareness. I'm on the board of trustees now, and I've just attempted to climb Kilimanjaro, and a group of us from LinkedIn raised over £55,000 for them by doing that as well. Yeah, it's been huge. The charity is just, they're incredible what they do. They work 6-7 days a week. They don't take any money whatsoever. The founders don't take any wages whatsoever. Everything goes to aid. And it's just, I'm really super, super passionate about it. And I love that I can use my brand to benefit more than just my bank account, because the shit stuff that goes alongside with being an influencer and visible online wouldn't be worth it to me if it wasn't like, I could quite happily walk into a marketing job for 50 grand a year and just not be in the public eye, but being in the public eye allows me to do things like I can for Hope 4, and that for me makes it really worth it.
Oh, Lee, honestly, it touches my heart. I love what you've done. I love the motivation behind it. I love the sort of twofold connection of that. It's just good. It's just about being good and helping those around you. But actually, the sort of side effect of that is, as an entrepreneur, a business person, salesperson, whatever you may be, it looks good for you. It's good. It's just good all around. It's a win-win for everybody.
Nobody loses in this situation. They get visibility. I get credibility. We save children's lives. We feed hungry people. We're pulling people out of desperate situations, and we're doing it with our own hands, actually going and helping and being on the ground, making impact. It's not like I'm just sat here raising money. I actually go out and help and experience it as well, which is not easy, but I think it's important because it reignites the passion for it, even when it gets tough. So yeah, it's lovely to be part of something so significant and that is genuinely changing the world for the better.
You've impacted so many people, Leah, and I can't applaud you enough. And I love that whole journey of leveraging LinkedIn as the powerful tool that it is, taking it to that next level by building a community and really connecting people to work together, to collaborate, and then using the influence, the brand, and the audience that you have to do as much good in the world. It's just such an amazing story. And I would encourage everybody who is listening to this episode or watching this episode, go and make sure you're following Leah. Make sure you click that bell, you follow her amazing content. Please support her charities. Please look at the Halt, because if you are looking for a business community, there isn't a better one out there. I can't thank you enough for sparing some time to be on this podcast and share your amazing stories and messages, but again, inspire people on LinkedIn and off LinkedIn, which I think is what you do perfectly. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm just going to go and polish my halo now.
Thank you to everyone who's been listening and watching this. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. And thank you again to Leah. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you on the next episode. Take care.